Okay, so this is where I'm currently at with the terrain. Let's unpause it. So I've added clouds and fog effects to the valleys, and we're looking through the player's space helmet, and we can just sort of see the top of the visor, the underside of the visor at the top, the microphone that's sort of the black thing in the way, and a kind of a chin jaw area, which all of those three things are meaningful, that I'll mention in a minute. And we've got a sort of a supernova sized sun that is setting in the background on these characters here. These are just the first go little characters that are super simple polygons, so that they can be animated without the complexity of rigs and inverse kinematic limb control. And I'm thinking of just adding floating hands and floating feet to these guys. That will allow gestures to be done to add expression and for them to interact with things using their hands. And with the feet, that means they can kind of stomp about, and I can programmatically achieve that without having the complexity of manipulating rigs at this stage. So that's the plan in order to get the gameplay underway without them being too complicated. And I'm going to try and major on facial expressions and speech and gestures. You'll see on top of their heads there's just a little rectangle. That is to be potentially replaced with different simple geometry hairstyles, but I am not sure whether I want to do that or whether I want to keep it more kind of abstract as it is at the moment. In the distance there's sort of a white shape here. This is actually a rectangular hut that's over in one of the valleys, and it's the very first hut that I've put into the game. I might be able to show you some stars. So in the sky you hopefully can see some stars twinkling. It's quite hard to see. I don't know whether it will come through in the resolution of the screen recording, but you can see them. I can see them right now, so hopefully it will show up. And the stars, to get the twinkling effect, I'm using a particle effect for the stars, and then running like a sort of a noise map across each of the star. Each star is a white dot, but it is using a noise map to make them twinkle. So that's that. I'm quite pleased with that. They obviously get more visible as nightfall falls, and as it gets towards sunset, you get a sort of a nice greeny hue across the horizon and the hills, and similar in the morning. So the sun is going down quite slowly. I'm going to speed it up. So let's come in here and let's move that by a factor of 10. So we've got sun, stars and moon at the moment. The moon is following its own entirely different orbit. It's not trying to be Earth-like. And the clouds, let's speed them up as well. And currently I've got these sort of celestial bodies being updated every n number of frames because they're not fast moving, and I think it's every 100 frames or so the sun is being updated. And at night, that's the position of the sun. And the night position, I have a multiplier of 10 so that I can make the nighttime go faster if I want to. So that's that. So now the sun is setting a bit quicker, and you can see it. I get this really lovely, gorgeous, massive sun on the horizon. This is just like a huge supernova, and you can see the green kind of nightfall across the back there. So it was quite stepped in that transition. That's the 100 frames per movement. So that's because I've got it on a fast sort of not very smooth multiplier at the moment. Obviously, when the sun's moving extremely slow, the updates of its position would be very, very small and hard to notice. It won't be jerky like that. What you might have noticed is that the clouds disappeared at night time to reveal the stars in better detail, and they've come back with the dawn, and they intensified as the sun was coming up, and we got a nice view of the sunrise and the mist in the valleys, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it looks great, and it's certainly come on a long way from where I was with it before. So I was going to mention the visor. The point of the intention is that the player is always in first person, that you're never in third person view, so it doesn't need to be a detailed model for the person, and the player is a stranded astronaut that's crash landed on the planet. So if we look at the player's helmet, it consists of a few different things here. There is a visor which can open and close, so you can see the effect of closing the visor. It tints the landscape quite differently. Where's the sun? Sun's quite high. There it is. Let's see if I can open that. So you can see the sort of effect of the sun visor on light sources. It's quite nice. What else can I show you? So in here there is a so the intention is with this that there won't be much on the interfering in terms of like a user interface or a UI, but there's the moon coming up. But instead, everything should be mainly voice controlled and very much like you're looking out from inside a motorcycle helmet, rather than having a massive heads-up display of detail. So what I do have is this kind of jaw piece that comes up, and the central area here will have like a console of information, and so that you'll get any kind of readouts or things about health can be accessed via that jaw panel that then retracts when it's not required. So there's that, and then there's the microphone, which, let's see, let me select that. The helmet mic, there we go. Which when you're not using it you can stow, and then you click a button to talk and interact with the people around you, and down comes the helmet mic, and then the game is now listening to what you say, very much like Hey Siri or Alexa, and the intention is to use those kind of speech to text, text to speech APIs that are available to translate what the player says in their mic into text, and then pass the text through a text parser for the in-game characters, the non-player characters, to respond to those to that text that's created, and then reply back, and their replies will be text-based, but put through a text-to-speech API so that it comes back, and all the interactions are intended to be done that way. So it's very much about talking to the characters in the game rather than shooting them, and getting their help. So so one of the things I wanted to be very realistic. So for me to walk across to that building would be extremely tedious, as it would in real life. That's the way I want it. I don't want to have cheats. I want it to be realistic in that way, and therefore getting a non-player character to help you by driving you in their car is going to be a great time saver, and the way to get help from people is to ask them. And some of these characters may be bus drivers or taxi drivers or whatever, and so it's about interacting with them to get their help and assistance where you need it. That's the first time I've seen the new image for the moon. It's a bit big. I need to scale that moon down to something a bit more sensible. Again, that kind of jerkiness is only because the frame rate update at the moment is set to, where is it? Let's see, the moon is updating every 100 frames. If we put this back to something that will be, more normal of actual gameplay, then the moon movement is so slight, and this is the same as the sun and everything orbiting the stars and everything. It's so small that it doesn't appear jerky in that way, and it's not interfering with performance because it's only being updated every 100 frames or so. So these can be tweaked in due course in whatever way makes sense. That's about it at the moment. You can't really see the cloud movement very easily, but I can speed it up. So let's try that. That's not working, is it? Orbit speed is being ignored. Oh no, it's not. It's just needs to be, I haven't, right, since I made the cloud sphere so much bigger, this needs to be looked at. This is where I got to last night, so I shall put that back to 1. I'm not quite sure that the orbit speed is actually doing anything, but you can see from the frame rate that the frame rate is certainly, if we change that to 1, it's very, very fast. Anything else is not working, so clearly there's a bug in the code there, so I shall go and look at that. That's a little bit too fast. Right, end of video.